What's going on, guys? I'm Lewis from Counterculture Podcast, and right here I got with me.
We got Anthony here.
Yes, we do. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, our iTunes podcast, and Spotify. Whatever one you guys listen on, subscribe or just do all three. If you're feeling nice. But anyway, we are continuing last week's episode as we were talking about the hardest questions about evil. If you didn't catch last week's episode, after this, go ahead and go back to get some context of what we were really talking about. So today it's going to be rapid fire. It's going to be a little bit different than what you're normally used to. I'm going to ask a quick little question, and Anthony is going to answer it, and we're just going to go back and forth for a couple questions. So here we go. The first one is, wouldn't life be better if God destroyed evil altogether?
The number one question atheists love to ask when it comes to evil is, if this God is so powerful. Here's the thing. Some skeptics are tempted to rebuke that it shouldn't take all human history for an all-powerful God to deal with the problem of evil. But here's the thing is that God, he certainly has the option of doing away with all evil immediately, but the issue is that choosing this option would have definite and fatal implications for all of us. I mean, just think of it this way. God, if you were to obliterate all evil like Thanos obliterated half of the Avengers, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched...
Dang, people like you, huh?
Yeah, people like me. If you haven't watched the latest Avengers, I'm sorry, but hey, in Endgame, you're going to find out that half of them, they're missing. And so if God...
Wow, you just all our subscribers are gone because you just told the end of the movie. Good job.
If God, he were to obliterate us, just think of it this way. God were to not obliterate us, but if God, he were to obliterate all of evil like Thanos ultimately obliterated half of the Avengers in a moment, I mean, just think, he went half gone. And so if he were to do the very same action, he would have to do a complete job. And his action, what it would do is it would ultimately include all of our lies, our personal impurities, our lack of love, our failure to do good. So think of it this way. Suppose God were to decree that at midnight tonight, all evil would be removed from the universe. Who of us would still be here after midnight? Really nobody. Even though God's ultimate solution to the problem of evil awaits the future, as I have argued in the past, God has even now taken steps to ensure that evil doesn't run or utterly amok. And so I want to say that again. Even though God's ultimate solution to the problem of evil ultimately awaits us in the future, God has now, to this day, taken steps to ensure that evil doesn't run amok in our life or even our society. Because here's the thing is that God, he's given us human government to ultimately play a role as a light in the midst of darkness, to strengthen God's people, and even help restrain the growth of wickedness in the world through the power of the Holy Spirit. And now I'm not telling you that, the American government has it all right. I'm not telling you that all of our laws are good, all of our laws are correct. I'm not here to have a political argument. But what I am here to say is this, is that when God gave Moses the 10 Commandments, those things that we still apply to our life to this day, when he gave Moses those laws, those were, scholars believe and theologians study, that those were the most sophisticated and philosophical ways to looking at life and looking at problem solving. So it's even this way. Think of it this way. Even to our modern day, we still apply these principles because we know it's not cool to go have sex with someone who's not your wife or husband. It's not cool to, blow up on someone and ultimately murder them just because you had a bad day. See, these are practices that we ultimately still practice because why? Because they were so sophisticated. God gave us government to rule and reign in order to limit the amount of darkness that is alive in our world.
All right, another question. You ready, Anthony?
Yes.
Are you guys ready? All right. Is evil an illusion?
Is evil an illusion? That's a fun one because here's the thing is that this idea of evil being an illusion comes from the founder of Christian Science because he argues that matter, evil, sickness, and death are all unreal and are illusions of the mortal minds. And so here's the thing. If evil is an illusion, and this is fun because here's things that you can take and you can argue with atheists. You can really apply this and really think about this for a minute. Because here's the thing. If it's an illusion, then why fight it? When people claim that evil is an illusion, I think it is a fair game to ask them if they lock their front door at night. Just think, do they lock their front door? And if they do, then ask them why.
And why do you have security systems?
Exactly. Do they leave their key in the ignition when the car is parked in downtown?
Matters what neighborhood you live in, where you're at.
Yeah. Do you buckle your seatbelt in the car?
Well, yeah, it's safety first.
Do you go to the dentist?
If you want to keep your teeth clean, sure.
Do you put your life jacket, or do you put a life jacket on your daughters?
If they don't know how to swim.
Okay. So here's the whole synopsis of this whole entire, answer is that if it's an illusion, then all those things that I just asked are absolutely unnecessary and should be of no concern to anyone, because the illusion explanation for evil flies in the faces of all human experience and reason. Denying that evil exists does not negate its reality. This explanation of evil is in itself delusional thinking at its worst. Jesus certainly believed in the reality of evil, considering his prayer that we actually retell. And it's found in the Lord's Prayer when he says, "Deliver us from evil." So evil, it is not an illusion to Jesus, so it's definitely not an illusion to me.
Okay. I think we got that. Next question is, do we as humans create our own realities?
See, this comes from a new age, type of thinking, because many new age thinkers believe that people create all their own realities, whether good or bad, by the power of psychology and their mind. Now, the problem with this view is that if we as humans, we create our own reality, like they argue, like new age thinkers argue, then one cannot condemn individuals who inflict evil on others. Let me give you an example again. So let's just, conclude that millions of Jews who were, executed by Hitler's regime created their own reality. Hence, let's just think Hitler's actions cannot be condemned ultimately as ethically wrong, since Hitler was only part of a reality that the Jews themselves created. Similarly, one cannot condemn terrorists who blow up passengers, because the people of these jets create their own reality. And so the point of this is that no, we do not create our own realities in our mind, because I'm pretty sure anyone who is being inflicted pain on them, that is not their desire. And so ultimately, we do not create our realities. Rather, we are a byproduct of someone trying to bring forth their reality on our life.
Last question. And it is a pretty controversial question to some people. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how you could do this.
Okay.
All right. Does reincarnation explain the existence of evil?
Reincarnation is fun because reincarnation is said to continue until the soul has searched and found a state of perfection and ultimately merges back with the true source that it came from, which is either God or the universal soul. And there's a number of problems with the doctrine of reincarnation, because practically speaking, we must ask ourselves, why does one get punished for something that he or she cannot even remember having done in the previous life? Because just think, if the purpose of karma is to rid the humanity of its selfish desires over many lifetimes, then why has there not been a noticeable, improvement in humanity's nature after all millennia or several reincarnations that we might have experienced over a lifetime? Think of it this way. If karma and reincarnation is the ultimate solution to evil, then why has evil continued to grow in our society? If reincarnation and law of karma, are so beneficial, the continued social and practical level, as a new age thinker claim, then how do they explain the continued, social and economic problems, including the widespread poverty, starvation, disease, and even the horrible suffering in India, where reincarnation is ultimately the systematically taught thought in all of history?
So again, guys, as we always do at the end of our episodes, go ahead and turn on your post notifications, hit that subscribe button. These past two episodes were a little bit different than we usually do. It's not going to be like this all the time, but we just wanted to finally answer these questions that were out there. But if there are any questions that you guys have that we didn't answer, go ahead and ask us. We might create another episode of answering your guys' questions. So once again, thanks for tuning in to Counterculture Podcast. Subscribe, like, share, follow, do it all.